Well, to this story now, where President Cyril Ramaphosa has signed new pieces of legislation which brings changes to some South African marriages and civil unions. The 2020 Civil Union Amendment Act was gazetted on Thursday and comes into immediate effect. Under the new law, marriage officers may no longer object to presiding over a civil union between persons of the same sex. So for more on this, we're joined now by COPE Member of Parliament, Deidre Carter. Deidre, thanks a lot for joining us this evening on South Africa Tonight. You were at the forefront of advocating for the signing of these new pieces of legislation. From 2018, you were seeking to have the right of refusal by state-employed marriage officers taken away. How significant is this amendment?
Well, I firstly have just to correct you. I'm no longer a member of Parliament. I actually retired in last year. Well, I must say it is phenomenal. Even when I got the phone call in July to say that the NCOP approved it, it was really heartwarming. And with the President signing it now, I actually just wish that he invited me to be present when it was signed. But it is really wonderful, good news.
I mean, previously, a marriage officer could write to the Minister of Home Affairs that he or she objects to solemnizing a civil union between persons of the same sex, and this is on grounds of conscious religion or even beliefs. What happens if the marriage officer under this new act still refuses to solemnize the union?
Well, there's a two-year sort of period, phasing in period. That is something that I agreed to when we first introduced the bill in 2018. And the whole idea behind it was, and taking into consideration the people that were employed. So, you know, we sat with a stage where there was only 411 marriage officers that were prepared to do these marriages. So a phasing in period was something that we've agreed upon.
Yeah, and then
at this stage, it is. The Department of Home Affairs has got a responsibility that every single Home Affairs office, they will make sure that a person is available to do a civil union marriage in the event that, you know, if someone refuses, they must make sure there is someone that can do the marriage.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking here about somebody being able to do the marriage if the one that, you know, was refused or exempted by the minister refuses to do the marriage. But now there's this training process of about 24 months, right, saying that those individuals, you know, who've been exempted previously have now been given about 2 years to be trained. Pardon the naivety, but exactly what would that training actually involve?
Well, you know, when it comes to the training, I think we've just got to be serious about, if we look at the Constitution, if we look at Chapter 10 of the Constitution, it is very clear. And I'm actually going to quote from what it says. That is the basic values and principles that is governing public administration. And 1D says that services must be provided impartially, fairly, equitably, and without bias. The Constitution also further states that the state may not discriminate against anyone. So therefore, you've got to ask yourself the question, a civil servant, a person in the employ of a state, they are the people representing the state. And therefore, according to me, it was unconstitutional from day one to allow any person to refuse. You know, I think there's lots of jobs out there, if they're unhappy with it and they don't want to do it, then ask to be transferred to a different department.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking to be transferred to a different department, but also at the forefront of us is this issue around public servants. In other words, the mandate is to serve the people of South Africa, and exactly being able to define what does it mean to serve the people of this country.
No, absolutely. You know, and I think this is where the whole thing comes in. And like I said to you, they are the representatives of the state, and representing the state. Not only does Chapter 10 tell them what they are supposed to do and what they must do, okay, but you've also got the Constitution also saying that the state may not discriminate.
We're going to leave it there, Deidre Carter. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening. COPE's former Member of Parliament, Deidre Carter, they're telling us exactly what does it mean for this amendment to be signed now into law.